that is the methods which are coming for supervised learning when the data is labeled. But sometimes we are having the data and we want to classify it on the basis of similarities or pattern in the data. Okay, that means the data is not at all labeled, just we have to club them into groups on the basis of, or you can call it as clusters, on the basis of the similarities between them. So here I'm not classifying the observation as student is passed or failed. Rather, what I will do, I will classify the group of students into two groups on the basis of similarities. Like the, for example, you may be having the data of height and weights of students just as it is. Okay, so I want to classify them, the students who are having the similarities between height and weight, and as a one group and other group. So I may consider one group as a healthy group and other group is not that healthy, but again it will be a labeled. Okay, but I'm not talking about the labeled data. So just I have say data of weight and height of students, and I want to classify them into group. So naturally, the algorithm, what it will do, it will take all the students who have similarities between the height and weight into the one group and remaining into the other group. So how to do this grouping or clustering and where this is applied, as I told you, this may be considered when you are considering the market basket analysis. The customers which are having the buying habit of the same type, they may be grouped into, or even the persons who are purchasing, say, some computer product, he must go for antivirus, he will go for printer, etc. So they will be clubbing all those customers into one group. Okay, on the basis of the similarities between them. That will be called as a unsupervised learning, and we are going to see the technique for dealing with such kind of unsupervised technique today. So the name is cluster analysis. Cluster means we are dividing the data or groups into the clusters. Clustering is the process of partitioning a set of data objects into subsets. Each subset is a cluster such that objects in a cluster are similar to one another and dissimilar to the objects in another clusters. The set of clusters resulting from a cluster analysis can be referred to as a clustering. What we are doing, basically, we are classifying, not exactly, this is not called as a classify. We are making a group of, from a huge group of objects, we are making the subgroups on the basis of what? Similarities between them. So if you consider the objects which are in one cluster, they will be similar to each other, whereas they are dissimilar from the objects in the other cluster. In clustering, we make groups of points based on how near they are to another. So how do I make the clusters? On the basis of the distance between the points. Okay. So naturally, if I considering the first point, the points which are close to that first point, they will be clubbed into one cluster, and which are far from that point, they will be clubbed into the other cluster. So again, the concept of distance between the points will come over here. It is also called as unsupervised learning. Why? Because just I am clubbing the objects into the groups. I am not classifying them. Okay. A good clustering method will produce cluster with intraclass similarity, with intraclass similarity, with high intraclass similarity and low interclass similarity. Naturally, within the group, there will be more similarity, and between the groups, there will be less similarity. Clusters can be formed by using one of the standard algorithm like k-mean algorithm. Okay, so I'm going to now describe the method of K-mean algorithm, which is used for clustering of the objects. The earlier one which we have seen, they are K-nearest neighborhood and naive-Bayes classification. They are the methods of classification, whereas this method is used for clustering, for dividing the objects into different clusters or subgroups. Now, first we will understand the method with the help of example, and then I will explain the method. So what, see, this is the data of only 6 objects given to us. And there are two types of observations. One is observation is X and other observation is Y. And now I want to make subgroups of these 6 observations, 2 subgroups. Now, how to make those subgroups? Naturally, the objects which are similar to each other, they will be put in one class, and which are not similar to them, they will be put in the second class. Okay, what is the procedure? The procedure is the first 2 observations, like this first observation and this second observations, they will be classified into 2 clusters, call them as C1 and C2. Okay, so here the first cluster is C1 and the second cluster is C2. So the first observation, that is X 185 and Y 72, that will fall in C1. And second observation, that is 170 and 56, that will fall into C2. This is by default. Okay, now I am trying to classify the remaining observations into one of the 2 clusters, C1 and C2. Okay, the first 2 observations, we are taking them as it is, and they will be called as first centroids. Okay, now the third observation, which is the third observation, it is 160, 168 and 60. Let us call this third observation as C. So what are the points in C? 168, 60. Now I will check what is the distance of this new point as compared to the earlier point. So how to measure that distance? I will use the Euclidean distance formula. So the difference between xi's and yi's and their squares and sum, and then take square root of it, that will be the Euclidean distance. So here the point is 168, and from the corresponding x value in C1, the point is 185. So the difference between 168 minus 185, its square, plus the second observation, new observation is 60, and from C1, the y observation is 72. So the difference between them is 60 minus 72 and its square. And then its addition and a square root. You will get the distance between the new point and the point in the cluster C1. The distance is 20.808. Now I will find the distance between the new point and the second cluster C2. So you can see here, that is difference between 168 and 170, its square. Similarly, difference between 60 and 56, its square, then addition of those squares and its sum. You will get it over here, right? And that square root is coming out 4.472. So naturally, the distance between the new point and the second cluster is minimum. Hence, the new point C is belonging to C2. Okay, so now my clusters are, first cluster is C1, which is containing only one point, which is containing only one point, that is first point. Let us call it as A. And the second cluster is now containing 2 points, that is second point B and third point C. Okay, now we will define the new centroids. Centroids means what? Mean of the points which are lying in those clusters. Now, in C1, since there is no arrival, the points will remain as it is, whichever they earlier. that is 185 and 72. They will remain as it is. Where in C2, the points will change, the centroids will change. That is the mean of the observations which are lying in that cluster. So which are the points lying in the cluster C2? They are B and C. So their mean B and C here. B is 170 and C is 168. So their mean is, see here, 170 and 170 and 168. Their mean will lie here, which is 169. Similarly, Y's mean will lie over here. So these are the new points which you have to consider for calculation of the distance from the second cluster. Okay, so the next point, the fourth point, let us denote it by D, and it is 179,68. See here, the fourth one is 179,68. Now let us calculate its distance from the cluster C1 and C2. How to calculate? Again, using the Euclidean distance formula. 179 minus the cluster 1 is containing 0.185. So 179 minus 185 bracket square plus 68 minus 72, right, bracket square. And then sum of those differences squares and then square root. You will get the distance as 7.2. Similarly, we will find out the distance of D, new point, from the cluster C2. How far it is from the second group, that we will calculate. So how to calculate it? New point is 179 and cluster C2 centroid is 169. So 179 minus 169 bracket square plus 68 minus 58 bracket square and then square root. The distance is 14.14. Now naturally here the distance of new point is minimum from the first cluster C1. So the point D will be added to the first group. Okay. So now the cluster C1 is A comma D and cluster C2 is B comma C. So what we are doing, we are classifying the objects on the basis of similarities between them. Now you can see the same table will continue but with different centroids. Is there any change in group C2 now? No, it is same as it is. So C2K centroids will be the same as the earlier one, 169 and 58. Whereas C1 will change now because one more entry is there in the cluster C1, which is D. So we will find out the mean for the cluster C1 again by considering point A and D from the table earlier. Okay, so the centroids are for C1 now are 182,70. Now we will consider the fifth observation in the table, that is E. Let us see in which class, in which cluster it will fall. So again we will find out the different. Yes, anybody has any doubt?
मॅम ते सी वाला कळलं नाही, C1 इज इक्वल टू A कॉमा D, ती वाली स्टेप कळत नाही कसं
कुठली
केलं.
ही वाली. Okay, see here the distance between C1 and D is the new point, right? It is 7, and distance between second cluster and the new point D is 14, right? So the distance of new point and first cluster is minimum. So the new point will belong to cluster C1. So cluster C1 was containing only point A earlier. Now D is also belonging to C1. Hence, now the cluster C1 will be A comma D, whereas C2 will be same as B comma C. Is it clear, Sagar? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
मॅम जर हा सेकंड वाला पॉइंट कमी असता तर मग तो सेकंड ला ऍड झाला असता ना C2 ला.
Ha, we are going to see one more example. I have solved it in Excel also. Okay. So accordingly, your centroids will change. Why? Because we are finding the distance between the new point and the cluster. Now, for finding that distance, I need one representative figure, and that representative figure, I'm calculating it as a mean of that cluster. Okay. So now, since D point has been added to cluster C1, the centroid of C1 will change. Okay, which will be mean of first point and fourth point, whereas C2 का earlier जो भी हमने निकाला है, it will remain same क्योंकि it is containing B and C only, right? Now the fifth point is 182,72. So again find the distance of E from C1 and C2 as a Euclidean distance. You will get it as 2 and 19. Okay, so naturally the minimum distance is 2. So the new point E will belong to again cluster C1. So now my cluster C1 will be A, D and E, whereas cluster C2 will be B and C only. I think, yeah, one more point is there. So what will be the new centroids? Again, since E has been added to the cluster C1, the centroids of C1 class will be different, whereas C2K will remain as it is. Now, one more point is there, which is, call it as F, right? Find the distance of this new point F from cluster C1 and C2. Now, the distances are 8 and 26. Since the again minimum distance is from cluster C1, the point F will be added to cluster C1 only. So the total 6 observations, they are divided into 2 clusters. Cluster 1 is containing first, fourth, fifth and sixth observations, whereas cluster 2 is containing second and third observation. Okay. Let us consider one more realistic example. You will get a feel of what we are doing exactly over there. The question is, apply the k-means clustering algorithm to the following data and obtain 2 clusters of food items. Means यहाँ पे data is given for the food items and the description about it is in terms of protein content and fat content. And we are asked to divide these food items into 2 clusters, 2 different groups. Now what to do? The first step is you consider the first observation as one cluster and second observation as the second cluster. Okay, see here. First observation is 1.1, 60. Second is 8.2, 20. So C1 is containing first observation and C2 is containing the second one. Okay. Now let us consider the third observation. What is that? 4.2, 35. So this third observation is 4.2, 35. Let us calculate the distance of this third point from cluster C1. So in Excel, I gave the formula as, you can see the formula over here in the toolbar group. Square root of what? The points in the new point and the cluster. So the new point is 4.2 minus 1.1 bracket square plus 35 minus 60 bracket square and its square root. So I got the distance as, look at here, it is 25.19. Okay. Similarly, the distance between the third point and second cluster, how much it is? It is 15.52. Okay. So which distance is minimum? Naturally, the distance between the third point and second cluster is minimum. Hence, the third point is belonging to cluster C2. So now the new clusters will be, C1 is containing only one point, that is first food item, and C2 is containing 2 points, that is second and third food items. Okay. Now what will happen to the centroids? Since the class C1 is containing the original point only, there is no change. Therefore, it will remain as it is 1.1 and 60. Whereas the centroids of the second clusters, they are changing because one more point is added into the second cluster, which is third point. So I found the mean for the second cluster as a representative figure. Okay, now consider the fourth point. Fourth point is 1.5 comma 21. So I found the difference between the fourth point and the first cluster. Similarly, the fourth point and the second cluster. Is there any doubt in calculation of the distance? You just find out the difference between the new point and first cluster as the difference between x and x and y. Take their squares, add it and take the square root. Okay. So again, the minimum distance is between the fourth point and the second cluster. So the fourth point will belong to second cluster. Now the clusters are C1 is containing only one point, that is 1, and C2 is containing 3 points, that is second, third and fourth food item. Similarly, you carry on the analysis for all the 10 points which are there. The fifth point, again I found the distance. Again I found that fifth food item is belonging to cluster C2. Then I compared it for sixth. Sixth point is belonging to cluster C1. I compared the seventh one. It is belonging to cluster C2, so on. You can see my final clusters are like this. The procedure will repeat same again and again until all the items are not divided into one of the two clusters. So my final clusters are 1, 6, 8 and second cluster is 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10. Now you look at it, this 168, 168. So I will make it with some other, yeah. The algorithm has divided the objects into two clusters, or you can say two groups which are having similarities. Now, can anybody tell me what kind of similarities are there in the two clusters? Like the one which I have made in red, that is one group, that is first cluster, and remaining all, they are falling into the other group. Now, these are the food items and their protein content and fat content has been given to you. So what kind of similarity is there between the group 1? Can anybody tell me?
Ma'am, there is less protein and a lot of fat content.
Fat content. So if this is the case, will you prefer the food items in class 1?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, because we are more diet cautious nowadays. This particular cluster 1 is containing the food items which are having the less protein content and more fat content. So we will definitely not prefer this unless and until there are any other requirements, isn't it? So see how this simple algorithm, and that is logical also, right? Just we are finding the distances between the points and the clusters, and on the basis of distances, naturally I am classifying them. So the points which are having the similarities, they are falling in the one group and the others are falling in the other group. In the cluster, within the cluster, there is a similarity. Like here, all the points which are having the low protein content and high protein, high fat content, they are classified into one cluster, that is cluster 1. Whereas others are falling into the clusters 2. Huh?
फूड आयटम आहे त्यामध्ये तर
सागर तुझा आवाज कमी येतोय मला.
हॅलो हॅलो आता येतोय का मॅम?
नाही मला आवाज येत नाही.
हॅलो
हॅलो.
हा आता येतोय.
हा येतोय बोल.
मॅम आता जो फूड
पुन्हा कमी झाला.
बोला.
Can anybody tell me what is he saying?
मैम वो फोर्थ फूड आइटम के बारे में कुछ बोल रहे हैं.
मॅम
हा, बोलो
प्रोटीन
सागर.
कंटेंट, त्यामध्ये प्रोटीन कंटेंट तर कमी आहे ना,
हा,
मग ते पण रेड याच्यामध्ये यायला पाहिजे ना, म्हणजे तसं क्लासिफाय करायला गेलो आपण तर.
अरे प्रोटीन कमी आहे पण फॅट पण तर कमी आहे.
मग तर मॅम ते दोन्ही मध्ये नाही जाणार ना, मग असं तर.
हा,
मग ते दोन्ही मध्ये नाही जाणार ना, मग त्याला एका असं स्पेसिफिक
पण
कॅटेगरीमध्ये
सध्या
कसं टाकू
आपल्याला
शकतो?
वी आर गिवन दॅट क्लासिफाय देम इन द 2 ग्रुप्स. जर तिसरा ग्रुप असता तर तो प्रश्न आला असता. ओके, मग सिमिलॅरिटी कसं बघणार? 2च ग्रुपमध्ये घालायचं आहे तर एक सिमिलॅरिटी आली की ज्यांचं प्रोटीन कंटेंट कमी आहे आणि फॅट कंटेंट जास्त आहे. 3 ग्रुप्स आले असते तर तसं झालं असतं की ज्यांच्यात प्रोटीन कमी आहे आणि रिलेटिव्हली फॅट पण मीडियम आहे. ओके,
ओके मॅम.
तो मैम फिर वो फोर्थ पॉइंट का क्लासिफिकेशन एक्चुअली सही नहीं है ना,
वाई?
बिकॉज मतलब हमारे पास 2 कैटेगरीज है, इसीलिए हम उसको कहीं पे तो पुट करना है तो उसको सेकंड
तो
क्लस्टर में.
रिलेटिवली वो सिमिलर किससे है उसमें हम पुट कर रहे हैं.
ओके मैम, ओके.
रिलेटिवली सिमिलर किससे है, राइट?
ओके मैम. और मैम एक डाउट था कि हम जब शुरू में डिसाइड करते हैं कि फर्स्ट और सेकंड पॉइंट को 2 अलग-अलग क्लस्टर्स में पुट करके आगे का एनालिसिस करेंगे, तो
Yeah.
मैम ऐसा हो सकता है ना कि फर्स्ट और सेकंड पॉइंट में ही बहुत सिमिलैरिटी हो?
तो फाइनल ही वैसे हो जाएगा. फाइनली व्हेन यू आर डूइंग नो, अगर वैसा हुआ ना भूमिका, तो व्हाट विल हैपन? द न्यू पॉइंट विच यू विल कंसिडर दैट विल बी क्लोज टू बोथ ऑफ देम, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and that will automatically be taken care of. तो वो क्लस्टर अलग आएंगे ही नहीं. Finally you will come to the conclusion that these 2 will be also falling into the first cluster, or first will be falling into the second cluster. Likewise, you will get the indication accordingly.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Any other doubt? Okay. So what is the method? I explained the example because now it will be easy for you to understand the theory behind it. What is this algorithm? Begin with decision on value of k, that is number of clusters. Means the examples which we have seen now, in those examples it was given that you divide the data into 2 clusters, but how to decide that k? Right now that is not the part of our syllabus, but as a data scientist you need to take the decision how much should be the k. There is a theory behind it. I have a soft copy of a book on data mining. If you want, I can send it to you. You can refer. That is really a very good book, but the book is huge and we are having just very few part of it. Okay, so the first thing is we need to decide about the value of k, but in your syllabus what we have is k is given to you. Then take first k training samples as a single element clusters. Like in our cases we were having 2 clusters, so take first 2 training samples as single element clusters. Means what we did, first observation we have taken it into the class C1, and second observation we have taken it into the cluster C2, right? And assign each of remaining samples to the cluster with nearest centroid, right? What we are doing, we are comparing each of the next points with the first 2 clusters, because k was 2 in our cases, on the basis of how far they are from the centroids. After each assignment, recomputation of centroid of k clusters will be done, right? How do we assign them? On the basis of distance. Once you assign the new point to the cluster, again recomputation of the centroids will be done. Take each sample in sequence and compute its Euclidean distance from a centroid of each cluster. That is what we did. If the sample is not currently in center with the closest centroid with the sample to that cluster, update the centroid of cluster, gaining the new sample and cluster losing the sample. मतलब क्या करना है कि you find out the distance, find out the new sample observation to which cluster it is belonging, update the centroid of the corresponding cluster. If the sample is not belonging to the cluster, it will remain same, the centroid. If it is belonging to the cluster, the centroid will change accordingly. Repeat step 3 until convergences are achieved. That is, training sample causes no new assignment. Till what we have to do? Till all the samples, they are not divided into one of the clusters. And this is what the example is which we have seen. Okay, since we have seen the example first, it is better to understand. That's why I did it first. So what we are doing, we are basically, suppose there are 3 clusters. Suppose it has been said that you divide the group of observations into 3 clusters. What you will do, you take the first 3 observations into 3 clusters. C1 will be the first cluster containing first observation, C2 will be the observation containing second, and C3 will be the cluster containing the third observation. And now you find out the distances of the 4th and onward observations from the 3 clusters. Add the observation which is having the minimum distance from one of the 3 clusters. So likewise, you repeat the observations until and unless all the observations are not divided into the one of the 3 clusters. Hope this is clear to you. This is the one more example which I have already done in Excel. Okay, this example is not from K-nearest, what K-means algorithm. Now the part remaining is in data mining. No, not this one. Just a minute. Yeah. Data mining process. So which are the steps in data mining process? There are 2 different types of tests which are defined in the industries, 2 different types of processes. One of it is called as CRISP-DM and other is called as a SEMA. So just for the sake of introduction and the terminologies which are involved in these processes, in order to systematically conduct data mining analysis, general process is usually followed. There are 2 standard data mining processes. The first process is called as CRISP-DM. It means cross-industry standard process for data mining. Now there are different steps involved in it. The first step is understand the business. This initial phase focuses on understanding the project objective and the requirement from business perspective, and then converting this knowledge into a data mining problem. Definition and preliminary plan designed to achieve objectives are prepared in this particular step. Like on that day that Saurav was telling, you are a statistician, but you know the techniques of analyzing the data. But he was working earlier with Taj Hotels. He has worked with clinical trials. Now he is working somewhere else. But you don't have the domain knowledge of those fields. So first you have to understand that. what exactly the client wants, what are the objectives, and accordingly you will plan it. That is the first step. Understand the business and then plan or design accordingly to achieve the objectives. You plan the you plan it accordingly, right? Then second step is data understanding. Once business objectives and project plans are established, data understanding phase starts with an initial data collection and proceed if objectives in order to get familiar with data to identify data quality problems. In data collection, to select the related data from available database. So you may be already having the data, or you may need to collect the data. First, you understand the problem, and then accordingly, whatever data is required, you try to understand that also. You try to get it, or you try to collect it. Then the next step is data preparation. What do we mean by preparation? We have seen different methods like data cleaning, data transforming, etc. Data preparation phase covers all activities to construct the final data set from initial raw data. Once the data resources are available, they need to be selected, okay, and built into required format. Data cleaning and data transformation methods in data preparation of data modeling needs to occur in this phase. You have collected the raw data in the second step. Now the data cleaning, data transformation is required to be done in the data preparation phase. Once the final data is ready, the next step is you model the data. Like you may do the classification, you may do the clustering, etc. Whatever are your objectives and how the data is, on the basis of that, you may plan the tool to model the data. In this phase, various modeling techniques are selected and applied, such as cluster analysis, decision tree, classification rule, regression, etc. The division of the data into training and test sets is also needed for modeling, isn't it? Because whatever model you have made, you must have to test it first, and then only you can say that yes, it is okay. Next step is evaluation. Model results should be evaluated in the context of the business objective. Establish in the first phase of business understanding. Whatever model results you are getting, they must be evaluated in the context of the business objectives which are established in the first phase of business understanding. Otherwise, it is of no use. The interpretation stage is very critical. It becomes knowledge from mined data. This operation depends on the interaction between data analyst, business analyst, and decision maker. So here all the terms will work together. Whatever model you obtained, is it matching with whatever objectives you decided first? So all the teams like data analysts, where statisticians may be involved, business analysts, where the persons from other field, they may be involved, and decision maker, like the management of the company, they will come together and interpret and take the proper action. And the last one is deployment stage, where creation of the model is not the end of the project, even if the purpose of the model is to increase the knowledge of data. Right? The knowledge gained will need to be organized and presented in a way that the customer can use it, and that will come under the deployment phase. So these are the various stages which are involved in the process of data mining, and this process is called as CRISP-DM process. Whereas the another one is there which is called as a SEMA. In SEMA, S stands for sample, E stands for explore, first M stands for modify, second M stands for model, and last A stands for access. In addition to the CRISP DM, there is another well-known technique developed by SAS Institute called as SEMA. The acronym stands for sample, explore, modify, model, and access. The SAS Institute consider a cycle with 5 stages. What do we mean by sample stage? This stage consists of sampling the data by extracting a portion of a large data set. That is, we calling it as training data set. They are taking actually sample from the used data. In case of very large data set, mining a representative sample instead of whole volume may reduce processing time required to get. So naturally, when data set is huge, it will be better to handle with a sample because it will reduce the time even if you are having machines now. Then the next stage is, so the first stage is sampling, second is explore. After sampling data, the next step is to explore them visually. If visual exploration does not reveal clear trends, one can explore the data through statistical technique like clustering. Matlab, you use the data of, you use the tools of visualization, matlab graphs. See if any kind of pattern you can visualize by plotting the graphs. Like he was telling, just simple graphical technique helped him to increase the revenue of the company by 200 crores. So you just plot the graphs first. Whenever you will receive any kind of data, try to look at the data graphically first. You will get a lot of information about the data by simple graphs also. If not, then go for the techniques like clustering, etc. to get the more information from the data. Then modify. The next stage is modify. This stage consists of the modification of the data by creating, selecting, and transforming the variables to focus the model selection process. Whichever is required, either you create new data set or transform the earlier one, which will help you in the process of model selection. So based on the discoveries in the exploration phase, one may need to manipulate the data to include the information such as grouping of customers and significant subgroup, or to introduce new variables. It may also be necessary for outliers and reduce the number of variables. So accordingly, on the basis of the second stage, sometimes you may feel that some variables are unnecessary, you can remove them. Some variables, they require transformation, you transform them. So whatever modifications are required that have been done, those modifications will be taken care of in this stage of modify, if required, of course. Then the next stage is model. This stage consists of modeling data by allowing the software to search for a combination of data that predicts a desired outcomes. Now, of course, model means on the basis of data and your objectives, you will model the data accordingly. And the last is access. It should not be T, it should be S. The stage consists of accessing the data by evaluating the usefulness and the reliability of the process found from the data mining process. So whatever results you are getting, that should be accessed by all, and the objectives and the results, they should be matched with each other. And of course, it should be accessible to all. So this is one process which has been defined by the software company, that is SAS. Okay, just for the sake of introduction, these two processes are involved in your syllabus. And this is the end of the theory. Now here some examples, I have introduced them in the practical. Just I will go through the examples, techniques, you already know them. I will finish it within 10 minutes. You don't have the practical anyway. Madhu madam's practical is not there. So I can extend for 10 to 15 minutes. So this is the practical which I'm going to put in the Google Classroom. The first example is, consider the data from electronic stores with respect to income and buying status of a computer of the customer. Predict whether a new customer with medium income will buy a computer or not. So this is the data given to you. You can use any of the algorithm which is possible to you. Okay, now there are, see, you have to classify or you have to predict. Now how to decide which technique you can use over here? We have seen three techniques. One is KNN, K nearest neighborhood. Second is naive Bayes, and third is K group means, right? But remember, the third one is clustering technique and the first two are the classification technique. Now here I have to decide whether the person with medium income will buy a computer or not. So I have to basically classify the new customer into whether he will be able to purchase or not able to purchase. So basically this, here I need to use the classification technique. Now for that again I have two techniques. One is K nearest neighborhood and second is naive Bayes. Now which one I should use? Anyone you can use, but K nearest neighborhood mein kya hota hai? We are calculating the distance of the new from the earlier one, to whom it is closer, right? But here income is stated in terms of high and medium and low. So can I find the distance? No. Hence I will use naive Bayes algorithm over here. And how to use that we have already seen, rather we have seen this example also. So again, no need to explain. This example also I have explained it. Just you go through it. The car, we have to decide whether it is a stolen car or not on the basis of its color, its type, right? The next one is cluster the following observations into two clusters using K-mean algorithm. K is given as 2. This example just now I have shown it to you, how to cluster the observations. The next one is apply the K-means clustering algorithm to the following data and obtain two clusters of food items. Again, the same example which I have shown you with the help of Excel. The next one is following data is, different example. So following data is from the questionnaire survey and objective is testing with respect to two attributes, acid durability and strength. To classify whether a special paper tissue is good or bad, here are 4 training samples. Okay. So there are 4 different tissue papers. Do you remember that we were having in the chemistry that litmus paper, right? To decide whether it is acid or not. So similar kind of 4 different tissues are there. And we have to classify the tissues as either bad or good to test the acid durability and its strength. Okay. So already 4 tissue papers, they are tested and they are classified as bad and good. So when acid durability is 7 and strength is also 7, it is classified as bad. Again, second, this is 7 and second one is 4, this is classified as bad. Whereas if this is 3 and this is 4, it is classified as good. And this is 1 and this is 4, this is classified as good. The factory produces new paper, tissue paper, that is passed to the laboratory to test with x1 is equal to 3 and x2 is equal to 7 without another expensive survey. Can we guess what will be the classification of this new tissue paper using KNN technique? मतलब ये जो पहले 4 टिश्यू पेपर्स थे, they were sent somewhere and a survey has been taken कि is it a good paper or bad paper. Now the tissue papers which are having the characteristics like this, they were classified as bad by the customers, and the tissue papers which are having the characteristics like this, they are classified as good by the customer. Now that company has produced the new tissue paper with the characteristic X1, that is acid durability as 3 and the strength as a 7. And company does not want to go for survey now because the survey is expensive. They want the result from the data miner or data scientist, that on the basis of this observation, now you classify this new tissue paper as it is good or bad. You can use naive-based classifier, you can use KNN technique, but here specifically it has been given that you use the KNN technique, which we have seen first. Then how to proceed in this case? We are finding the distance of the new observation from the earlier one, okay, by using the Euclidean distance formula. And the distances you are getting are like this: 4, 5, 3, 3.6. Okay. Now, what is K in this case? What will be the classification? Okay. So, since the minimum distances are corresponding to the points 3 and 4, see here. The minimum distance of the new observation is from the 3rd and 4th point, whose results are good. Naturally, we can declare that the new tissue paper is good, right? So the company can pass it. Matlab, they can do the more production of the new tissue paper as it is classified as a good tissue paper. See how much this data mining work can reduce the work of the company, because otherwise they are needed to take the survey to check whether the new tissue paper is good or bad, and they are saying that the survey is expensive. So just on the basis of the earlier information, the data scientists, they can classify this new tissue paper as good and bad, and they are helping the company in such a way, right? So this is how you can do the practical also. If there is,
या केस मध्ये k is equal to 2 होता ना?
हो, k is 2.
मॅम, जर असं म्हणजे असं होऊ शकतं का की आता इकडे दोन्ही पॉइंट्स म्हणजे गुडच्या याच्यामध्ये झाले, म्हणजे कमी जे मिनिमम आहे ते, मग कधी एक असा बॅडच्या याच्यामध्ये आला आणि एक गुडच्या याच्यामध्ये आला तर
तुम्हाला k वाढवावा लागेल.
अच्छा अच्छा, ओके.
आणि मग जे मेजॉरिटी येते त्याच्यावरून डिसिजन घ्या.
ओके
मैम,
हाँ,
इस एग्जांपल में हम नाइव बेस रूल यूज कर सकते हैं क्या?
कर सकते हैं
मैम, बट वो फिर वो कैटेगोरिकल काइंड ऑफ डेटा के लिए होता है ना, मतलब
इसमें क्या करोगे, लाइक बैड और गुड वो तो कैटेगरिकल है, लेकिन हाँ नहीं कर सकोगे. वाई? क्योंकि हियर द वेरिएबल कैन टेक एनी ऑफ द वैल्यूज, तो इतने तो क्लासेस हम नहीं बना पाएंगे.
वही मैम.
या So it is not possible to use naive Bayes in this case when the observations are numerical and on large scale. एक या दो ही observations होते तो भी तुम कर पाओगे. Here it is not possible. Okay. Any other doubt? Okay, fine. Then we will stop here. I don't think there is any problem in conducting test on Wednesday, right? I will put all the material today only in the classroom, and the test will be there on Wednesday. Shall I take it at 1 or any other lecture is free in the morning? Can I take it early? Please let me know. Or at 1 o'clock is okay.
मॅम नम्रता मॅमचा लेक्चर आहे फ्री.
हाँ, मग 1 o'clock लाच ठीक आहे.
मॅम म्हणजे लवकर पण घेऊ शकतात तुम्ही.
ऐकू येत नाहीये मला सागर.
मॅम लवकर पण घेऊ शकतात. नम्रता मॅमचा लेक्चर आहे.
घेऊ शकतो.
हा 10 वाजता.
ओके 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 चालेल. सो आय विल पुट. नम्रता मॅडमचं किती वाजता आहे वेनसडेला?
10 वाजता आहे.
ओके. सो आय विल पुट इन द group today at 10 o'clock. Anyway, it is of 5 marks only because we have already taken 11 plus 9, that is 20 marks test. So I will take only 5 marks test, which will take hardly 5 minutes.
मॅम आणि
हाँ सागर.
मॅम ते प्रॅक्टिकल वाला एक्सेप्टन्स वाला ते परत एकदा जरा
हो सांगते की. ते कधी सांगू?
मॅम तुम्हाला जसं फ्री टाइम भेटेल.
वेनसडेला चालेल?
हा मॅम वेनसडेला तुमचं प्रॅक्टिकल असतं ना दुपारी, तेव्हा चालेल.
नाही, त्या लेक्चर मध्येच मी कंटिन्यू करते ना, परत दुपारी कशाला?
अच्छा ओके ओके चालेल, तसं पण चालेल.
हा ठीक आहे. पण सागर तुला काय डाऊट्स आहेत स्पेसिफिकली ते परत?
मॅम बरेच जणांना नाही कळलंय एक्सेप्टन्स.
ओके चालेल ना, मी एक्सप्लेन करते, पण तुम्ही थोडं विचारा. यू युअर सेल्फ स्टडी इट अँड आस्क मी. अदरवाइज ऑल्सो आय एम गोइंग टू एक्सप्लेन इट. फाईन फाईन, आय विल एक्सप्लेन. नो प्रॉब्लेम. And yeah, portion for the test will be the data mining unit. ठीक है? So all the best to all of you. And if you have any problem, any doubt in between also, you can ask us. But don't, as far as possible, WhatsApp करके इसका क्या आया, और तुम शायद ऐसा भी होता है कि you are solving it and sending us photos. But you will not imagine, we are getting lots of such messages daily, and it is very difficult for us to ask personally. So if possible, call us. अगर हम लोग कोई मीटिंग में वगैरह होंगे तो ही ऐसा होता है कि we are disconnecting it. Otherwise we are definitely answering you. और ऐसा नहीं कि मैं व्हाट्सएप पे आंसर नहीं दूंगी, बट देन समटाइम्स इट मे गेट स्किप्ड, कि रीड करके छोड़ देता है बिकॉज सम अदर इंपॉर्टेंट वर्क इज गोइंग ऑन. सो यू कैन रिमाइंड अस ऑल्सो कि मेरा प्लीज आंसर टू दिस लाइक वन. एंड एग्जाम के पहले वाले दिन कभी कुछ मत पूछना, बिकॉज वी आर ऑल्सो गेटिंग we are also having lot of work. We have to load that paper and see the technical issues, etc. So as far as possible, try to get your doubts solved before the exam. All the best to all of you, and thanks. All entire year we have spent online. Okay, shall we stop here?